Starting, it's 4:01. Want to welcome Jackie Brown to the committee. Jackie, tell us a little bit about yourself before we get going.
Well, we bought a house here in 2018 and we live half-time here, half-time in Portland. And although we have spent considerably more time right now because we're remodeling our house, so it's a disaster. I joined the board because my best friend, Libby, said that you guys are in need of some more members. So, and my history is I taught art literacy at our kids' grade school for 10 years.
Okay.
Loved it and really enjoyed that. And then I've always been an art lover, and I have been to some of the events here and thought, well, it would be nice to be more involved.
Okay, great. Glad that you're here. Thank you. All right. So the first thing we have to do is review and approve the minutes from our last meeting, the August. It looks like August 21st is on the call the meeting to order agenda, and it says August 23rd on the meeting minutes.
I think it's supposed to be the 21st because the bottom says the 21st also, but.
Okay, so there's an edit. Correct that to August 21st minutes. Did everybody have a chance to review these?
I briefly went through, I didn't see any.
Trey, did you have any edits?
I don't.
I didn't have any either, other than that date.
Yep.
We could get a motion to approve the August 21st minutes.
Motion to approve the August 21st minutes.
Trey, do you second that?
I second that motion.
All right, all to approve, say aye.
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 Opposed? All right, so approved. Okay, one of the things, well, I guess the reason why we wanted to schedule this meeting is look at our application for funding packet and other local packets or application packets that are similar or similar use, and see what they're asking for and see what their packet looks like compared to our packet. Has everybody had a chance to review the information?
I did.
Okay,
Briefly looked over.
okay.
I just on first impression,
Yeah,
I do like the Tillamook's kind of
the graphic.
blocking in the graph. I mean, I don't know that I love the font, but I did find it easy to navigate, like, you know, here's this aspect. And through that, it was easier to just navigate, I guess. And I did like the fact that they had the timeline there. And, you know, I didn't know whether the eligibility, because I didn't look through ours. I was like, do we have enough to do? Because I didn't remember there being like whole eligibility. I mean, I know we have eligibility requirements, but enough to necessarily focus on that. And
Right.
I thought it was interesting. They had company principles with the percentage of ownership. It's like, I didn't,
Yeah, I don't know why
I know.
you need that.
That's what I was-
A lot of
that's
information.
what I was thinking. I was like, I don't know that we need all that information, but I did kind of like the block data format
Mhm,
through there.
mhm.
Because then when I flipped to the Clatsop County Humane Services Advisory, which was a little bit more kind of like,
Right,
well, I guess this was our application for the committee's same kind of format.
right.
I was kind of like, oh, more hunting and pecking through information. It didn't seem quite so initially grasped.
Yeah, I agree that the kind of the format, the layout was really easy to read with the County of Tillamook. I like that they had a maximum request. They
Yeah,
capped,
I know.
right? That was something that we haven't looked at before, as having a cap on asks.
Nor had we published like
the
a
amount of
dollar
funding.
figure for a year, so I
Right.
was like,
You mean like what the total funds available?
Yeah. and I don't think I mean,
We
I don't
have,
think we've kind of been flexible
yeah, I mean,
in that.
we never had.
I didn't
think
know.
That's the thing that's great about this is we can kind of
Yeah,
do what we want, make sure Ashley's good with it.
yeah. Actually, the attorney.
Mhm.
I did like a couple of the, towards the budget. And I guess that would be a question. Did we feel like line items could be filled in, or did we feel like we needed specific line item names? I don't know, when we were talking about apples to apple comparison.
Right.
Are we really getting around? Or getting that? We don't start with some kind of fill in the blank, but I like that they could add in extras
Mhm.
below it, but like. Whatever that. Fee was, administration fee or what, I would want to make that be like consistent throughout
Right.
every event.
Right. Well, the examples in the other markets, I thought their weak spot was the budget, right?
Yes,
Their budget examples or their budget information. I thought that was their weakest part, and that was unfortunate because that's what we really wanted
yeah,
to see.
I guess I could go through the last couple of years of grants. I don't mind doing that and kind of seeing what would be the hot buttons that were consistent throughout.
mhm. And
And
come
then
up with
maybe
a example.
yeah, like an example template. And if they need to add more blocks in there, like this back one that says staff time or vendor name, scope of work. But it could be staff time, administration fee or what, maybe it's marketing or that kind of thing. Just a quick template for, or ticket sales or whatever up at the top.
Well, if you look at the second to last page,
Yeah,
it says under the Willamette Valley required supporting documents, grant budget must use provided template,
yes.
right? So they are requiring them
Mhm.
to use the template that they are providing, and that gives consistency,
Yeah.
right?
that's
So we're
true.
not trying to compare and figure out, oh, is this the same as this, which has different naming
Mhm,
from a different organization's budget?
mhm.
So they're doing what we are talking about,
Yeah,
must use the template budget.
because right now they're just giving us kind of an outline, but then it could be like their whole financial. I mean, and that's the other thing. Do we still need them to supplement? Like, for instance. What am I thinking?
Well, some
The
organizations are
museum.
providing their whole budget
Yes.
for the year and the event budget,
Do you
right?
think we need the whole budget?
I don't see why we would need a whole budget. Is there any requirement that we need the organization's
Or
whole
could we
budget?
just say, what is your entire year? I'd like just make that be one line item, like you're asking us for this. What percentage of your ask is of your annual budget? Does that make sense?
So my question is,
Why?
why? I don't want them to have to
Do we
do
care or
exercise.
not? Yeah, I don't want them to jump through hoops. if
Right.
The hoops don't make
Right.
sense.
And I don't think that's a requirement. I think that's something we ask because we do the same thing on community grants. Because looking at a lot of these are the same funding source
Right,
and they're not asking for them.
Okay,
So, and Ashley would tell us like, oh, you can't do that if that. was
that's,
the case.
yeah, that's
Right.
true.
Like when you read the ORS and stuff like that, I don't remember ever seeing anything like that.
the organization's entire budget,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah,
so I think
I
it's
mean-
more for us to look at.
And then do you require a final report after the event and
They're required to provide two reports, a midterm report and then a final report after the event. And the midterm report kind of depends on the timing with their event.
Right.
You know, it might fall before it, during it, shortly after, but then they're required to
Okay.
submit a report after, for sure. But I do think that budgeting is the reason why
Yeah.
we're having this meeting, and I think a template budget
Okay.
based off of, what I'd say, maybe if you want to pick this up, is look
Yeah.
at the various organizations'
Yeah.
budgets and figure out which one you like the best. And
Okay.
maybe kind of use that as a starting
Okay.
point. And
Yeah,
it doesn't mean that you have to copy it in full, but use it as a starting point and then just kind of
okay.
create and let's make it easy to.
That's what I want.
Make it easy to use.
Well, that's where I kind of think, if we can do it online, have it be a fill in the blank with a template. Maybe there's always the last minute people, but at the same time. It's one less step of them having to race stuff in and you have to. Compile packets in the 11th hour for everything too. I did like.
Well, I just think that it simplifies it
Yeah.
for us.
Yes.
And we don't have to decode
Right.
exactly.
what they're
What
really.
they're saying.
Yeah, exactly. Cause that, yeah. I did
And
like,
there's no misunderstandings, right? And
that
that's
wasn't my initial reason for wanting to do this, but this is.
right.
That
And there's
is,
no misunderstandings.
yeah. Because one person's calling this item, this
Right.
thing and the other. I forget whose. Little blurb it was. Sorry, I highlighted some of it, but grant review process. You will receive a confirmation of receipt within.
Yeah.
Basically just a do not wait till the last minute. Thing, but. And I guess the other thing I thought was. Do we feel like? We need to set criteria or not?
For what?
Well,
Like the
like,
scoring
yeah,
criteria? I don't think we need to.
okay, that was my question. I don't.
I mean, what do you,
know that
that's
we
just
need
me,
that.
and I'm coming off the board, so you're taking over the board. Do you want to have scoring criteria or not moving forward?
I just feel like every year that scoring criteria may be changing.
Could be.
Don't you feel like it's shift? I mean, it seems to have shifted from its initial point of heads in beds and,
I think that's gonna go back to our guidelines, because our guidelines are what is directing us,
yeah,
to what we're supposed to be doing.
Mhm.
And that's something that we would so be responsible. I think that it said if there's been sheds. And the photo season not. We do need to look at our overall guidelines, and that's gonna help. Lead to maybe more scoring area. Council does want to meet with TAC. We were hoping to maybe have a few more members, but that way we had everybody there. So that is something that they want to do as well. Have a joint meeting to discuss this,
did they end up discussing it at that work session last month or the month before?
No, so that meeting took a long time, and then they decided that discussion, and I think it was like the TSP and the version.
Okay,
They bumped it over to the retreat.
Okay.
So that's gonna be initial discussion in December.
okay,
And I think at those meetings, I'm not positive, it's gonna be more of just an initial discussion. What is it that we want to see? How do we want to get to where, like basically, let's have a meeting, let's invite these people, let's do this.
okay.
It's more of a planning, and then we're gonna get it in action. That's what I believe it was. I wasn't actually at that meeting, but that's from what I.
Okay. Well, then maybe that hashes it out where. Then if it's easy peasy, we put something in there, but. Again, I'm just trying to kind of get away from,
I don't think we need, I mean, we've got evaluation.
Yeah,
criteria,
then that's great.
But I don't think we need to put points.
Yeah. Okay. I'm fine with that too.
I'll tell you what I liked. And it's the type of eligible project
Oh, yeah.
page under the Manzanita. It was in the Manzanita
Oh,
section,
yeah, right. here.
the type of eligible projects. I like this page. I think that the organizations that are already submitting, this won't be that big of a deal
Mhm.
to, but if there's an organization that is thinking about,
Clarifies it.
it lets them know, yeah, that this is something that would work, or this is something that wouldn't work with TAP funds. So I like this,
Yeah.
this page, and it says that this by no means is a complete list, but it gives them an idea.
I agree. I liked that one. And I also liked. Jennifer's not gonna like me for this, but I liked the news release from Seaside with
Oh, I
where
didn't
the dollars went.
Yeah.
Because a lot of time, I mean. I know,
Yeah.
well, yeah, and I mean, there are people
people
that
in the
have
city.
been here their whole life
Right.
that have no idea where those dollars have gone. And that was
Mhm.
in the back there, but I was like,
Mhm.
I liked,
I liked it.
yeah,
I do too. I'll tell you what I like from Seasides. In fact, I really like Seasides. And it didn't have a lot of beautiful graphics like
yeah,
the
the content was good.
Yeah, I liked who may apply,
Yes.
and then the grant programs and restrictions, no more than 3,000 will be awarded to events or projects happening between May 27th and September 4th.
Okay.
So
Less funds for,
summer events,
Summer
right? I
events.
mean, here it is. So if you think that you're gonna come in with a June event or a July
Yeah.
event or an August, event, this is very specific. You're not gonna get much money, if anything. Right? And then the next paragraph I like too. In most cases, grant funds are intended to be seed money.
Mhm.
I thought that was really important, or startup funds.
Mhm.
And carries a 5-year limit on receiving funds. So this isn't an open tap.
Yeah.
A spigot for the rest of, eternity.
Weaning.
Well, and then the next page. Parties may apply for multiple grants in a given cycle. In such cases, however, applicants must identify their priority projects. And then competing projects will be considered before non-priority funding requests. So Chamber, who has, multiple requests, tell us which one's most important to you. And then that one, there's a good chance will get funded to a higher
Higher degree.
rate
Right.
than secondary ones.
That makes sense.
It seems like if money is tight, which it may be in Seaside, money is tight, then it's a way to prioritize and spread the money around.
Right.
Based on those priorities.
I did like their 16, 17, and 18. Because list all organizations and groups involved in the project. Sometimes that gets a little convoluted, I think. The beneficiaries are all the funding sources, if they're getting multiple grants or whatnot, I think that would be good. And then the management of the project, maybe we don't catch it in the budget thing, but maybe a question
Right,
like that helps clarify what certain dollars are going
right.
for, but
Some organizations bring in a specific manager for a project,
Yes.
right?
and I think that's,
That was the bugaboo.
yes, the last time, and and again, I don't think we expect everyone to give their comp all their time
Right.
each event, but
Right.
clarification of that, I kind of liked those.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. The other thing I liked on the Seaside packet was in bold, they have activities not eligible for funding.
Yeah,
And they specifically have 5 different bullet points. Grant funds to cover general administrative expenses, grant funds to cover operational expenses, capital improvements or projects, which is interesting because other organizations, the county, Tillamook County specifically had capital improvements,
that's
right?
what I saw, yeah,
Right, facade projects. And then projects promoting tourism outside of the local area. And of course, that makes sense as well. But I think that just kind of clarifies things.
Mhm.
yes,
That if you put general administrative line item, guess what? It's gonna get lined out, right? Those dollars are coming back to the city.
Mhm.
I think it's very upfront. So I kind of like that.
Yeah.
I think the more, the clearer we can be with the application packet and the directions, the better off the organizations. will be.
Right.
Exactly.
And I have sat on the other side and drafted the documents and given the presentations, and there's always gray area. They're always like, well, I hope this, from my reading of this, this should be okay. But it's because it wasn't as clear as
Yeah,
some of this is.
I think that's doing away with as much of the gray as.
But I think you're right also, like, while, we like kind of what they're saying. I like it better when you can read it like this,
Right. Graphics.
This is
Yeah.
like, what? It's
Yeah,
much easier to,
yeah.
process it
Right.
and more clear, I think,
Like I'm
sometimes.
cramming for an exam. What are
Right.
these 5
Wait, okay, wait, what's the,
My eyes like to see
Yeah.
that
Right.
more than. And there was something on, the Willamette Valley. I guess it was just. The line items in the budget for that. I think that was it.
I mean, I would think providing a template would not only make it easier for us to understand, but, to be able to access the data, but also much easier for them to input.
I would think so.
Because then they know exactly what they got to put in.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, and we had that other. I think you wrote it in there, Jennifer, how on the evaluations. Was that where I requested? To have previous grant year,
That's in our, yeah,
was that in the application?
it was on the application.
Okay.
Yes. Well,
Yeah, so we could see
it's in the minutes.
what the ask and the grant was for the
Oh.
prior year.
Oh, uh-huh.
So no, it is on evaluations because the grant application does ask, have you, what was last?
That's right, it was the evaluation.
You
Okay,
wanted to do amount received, requested amount and amount received on the evaluations.
great. Just so we weren't having to fish back through.
So many years ago, I created these graphs. Let's get rid of these graphs.
Okay,
Nobody's using them. So let's just get rid of them.
okay.
I think that they're not providing the data that we were hoping for. I'd just say, let's get rid of them.
Okay.
And again, you have to go in and interpret the data, right? Versus just having a graphic that is much easier to disseminate. And the other thing is that this was supposed to kind of morph into a scoreboard,
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could look at one page and see how
Yeah.
that's doing. It never really morphed into it.
okay,
Mhm.
It stayed in graph.
in graph form, okay.
I do think they were kind of cool, by the way, just like how you plug in the.
Oh, yeah.
That was pretty cool.
Again, I think it's. I
So what's-
looked at them, but
What's the next step for moving from this format to something that looks like this format? What does that next step look like? If we wanted to go something that is more of a graphic based application package, how does that happen?
So we just needed to kind of decide what it is we want it to look like, and then we'll do a mock-up. We'll kind of tweak it, look at it, we'll make sure everything is good with the attorney, and then we can roll it out. The ones that were from the tourism, and they did Manzanita and Rockaway. I'm friends with Marty who did it. So if we wanted to go to something like that, most cities are really good about sharing information.
Yeah.
But she can send things up in templates and we can just kind of work our way through it. And then we can pick out statements and line items and things from other grants and just copy and paste them. So
Okay. And we can go through our own thing and be like criteria, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, like what you like from all of these, like if everyone were to say, I like this part here, that part here, we can just sit there and kind of put it all together into one, and then we'll format it and play with it. I mean, it'll take
Sure, it'll take some,
time.
yeah.
We can definitely do it.
When is the deadline, do you think?
Okay, so I was just looking at our schedule. So our application packets go live typically around April 5th.
Okay,
In that timeframe. We normally meet in March. In March, we elect our chairs, we start reviewing forms. But we need to, when we do that, you would have to, if we wanted to make changes, we would have to meet again before April. So we do have time, we do have the holidays in between this, but this is something if we start.
Yeah.
We can definitely get this done and tweaked and finalized. I love the line item budget with things filled in. We can,
okay.
yeah, we have time if we want to do it. We just need to set some dates for meetings and just kind of work our way through the process.
Okay.
Um,
Do we have a preference on the template based on what we've seen? Do we like the Manzanita template or
I think,
they're all kind of the same?
yeah,
They have some slight differences between them.
So the ones too that that I got from Marty, they're all fillable forms, which is great because a lot of these activities are definitely going into that fillable form.
yeah,
I like the Google Doc forms. I don't like how the data comes out of Google Docs.
that's where I was gonna say is there one on the back end, and that's what I don't have experience with.
And that is just, it's cumbersome to read. So I kind of am liking the fillable forms. Maybe there's another program we can use eventually where we can get them to add it directly into a website form that prints out a good version for us to read.
Mhm.
And I'm new at Google Docs, so
So
Yeah.
what's
Yeah, right.
the Tillamook form on?
it's a fillable PDF that she sent.
And you're saying that's easier to read on the backside than,
Well, you get exactly what
Google?
it is.
oh, okay,
They
you
just
do.
fill it in right here.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I mean, part of me is like, I lean towards
Towards this one.
towards the Tillamook one, but with tweaks of the Seaside data component
Mhm.
kind of in there.
Yeah.
No, I'm looking at the Oregon Coast. The part of me is like. We kind of line item what we would fill in to each of those, you know. And then do. Because we physically have to meet, right? Like have a meet, we can't do it over,
We can't do it online.
yeah, we can't do it
No,
online.
because then it becomes a serial meeting.
Yeah.
So, what we could do is, one or two of you can meet and talk about it. One or two of you can meet with me. Probably better to do one. And we can work together and kind of do a template together and then present it to the whole committee. And sometimes that works because then I'm not just guessing.
Right.
Okay,
And, we can just set up a time and just start laying something out. And then as a community, we set it in the packet and then we need to discuss it.
I mean, I'm the one that opened this can of worms. I don't mind taking the lead on it by any means and kind of throwing it out there and then have everyone be like, no, I don't like that, or, you know,
Mhm.
do this here or there. I mean, I'm more than happy to do that.
Great.
Okay,
So there's a couple ways you and I can go through that and tell me the things that you like.
okay,
I can get a template from Marnie. We can start with hers and then start tweaking it. And you can say, hey, either come meet with me or just highlight things and drop it off.
okay,
I can just plug in stuff,
okay.
put it in, and then we can come here, we can put it on the screen.
Agreed.
We can just rearrange it while we're
Okay,
talking, you know, sometimes that works out really well.
okay. And then when do we think we would want to meet again? And if so, when?
Well, the question is, when can you guys meet? What, you know, how much prep work do you need
I
to
just
do?
got done with a wedding. I got free time on my
There you
hands.
go. Okay, tomorrow. No, I mean, like, when do you, because that meeting has to happen before then we get together. right?
Yes, and so I guess it, you know, I know you've got
So
always stuff circulating on your plate too, but
the hardest thing right now is we're losing Tessa. I don't know if you guys met Tessa
Oh.
Shutt, the amazing public works admin.
oh,
She is going to graduate school. Very excited for her, but very sad.
Yes.
To Portland. And so I'm going to be filling in her position as well.
okay.
We do have an ad out. If you know anyone who wants to work in public works as an admin, we have a lot of fun.
Oh.
We work hard, we play hard. So, Yeah, information's on the website, just.
Okay.
Is the play hard information on the? That's what I'm interested in. Work kind of hard, play really hard.
Yeah, we get really intense sometimes, but we always try to set it off with, okay. let's have some fun. Right now is a slower time. We're kind of in not a lull, but we're in between spots on projects and public
Okay.
work. So it's not like it's really crazy. And in council, I think we had like 6 meetings scheduled and it looks like 2 of them might not even happen, or at least one of them not. So it's
Okay.
not too bad. So if I could get your information, if you could give me like a week at least
Okay,
to play with it, that gives me
Yeah.
time to work it here and there.
okay.
We could probably, I guess the thing is when can we get everyone together again? Because sometimes that's the hardest thing and we could probably make it work to get stuff done.
Done.
November's bad for me,
Okay,
but December's better, right?
There's better.
But as we get towards the holiday week,
yeah.
then it's,
Yes,
yeah, but I'm gone like 2 weeks of November.
okay,
I'm pretty good that earlier part of December.
I'm good. The earlier part of December, I think is good.
okay, so if we want, okay, so I'm in December now. Are you catching all this too, Drea?
Yes,
Okay, good, just making sure.
I'm here.
What,
Like that first week, I don't have that 4th to the 8th. I don't have
Yeah,
anything.
I'm pretty open then too.
okay, the 8th is definitely out.
Yeah,
Do you guys want to stick with afternoon? That seems to work pretty well with everyone.
Mhm.
Council chambers is pretty open and I'm fairly open. Do you guys want to go with like Monday, the 4th? Tuesday is a council meeting, so,
let's not do Tuesday.
Yeah,
so,
I'm good with the 4th if that works for others.
okay.
4th or 6th, work perfectly fine.
Yeah, 4th or
Yeah.
6th are open. So do you guys want to do 3, 4?
4 would be good for me.
Or,
Okay.
4 o'clock.
well, and we'll put the packet out a week early so people can look at it and
Mhm.
kind of start formulating a plan and.
Okay.
Okay,
So we do 4 o'clock on Wednesday, the 6th. Does that work for everybody?
Yeah.
Just in case
Can make that work.
we sneak out of town over the weekend. Okay,
Okay.
4 o'clock on the 6th, on Wednesday, the 6th.
All right, I am booking it, so the room is ours.
TAC, application.
6 at 4 PM. So that works out great. So Libby, if you want to kind of
Yeah,
mark up some stuff, get some ideas, I'll ask Marnie for some templates.
Okay.
And then I will ask Seaside, I can't think of the name of the person I was dealing with. Ask
Yeah.
him to send me the Word version over, so that way we can just
start going through. Okay.
plugging and playing and.
Copy and paste.
Yeah, no, I think that would be great. And that way we're not, we can get through Ashley and we're not.
Right.
We could have it all settled before your departure, sir. I wish there were rules.
You'll have new people coming on board and a couple of them hopefully will be experienced.
Yes.
But how long did we have you still for? I thought we still had you for a while.
No.
You're gonna tell me like June.
Oh, it is March. Okay,
No.
I guess when we talked about it in the summer, it felt like it was longer away.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and we still have 3 openings.
3 openings. Okay. If you guys.
Maybe getting another one in here.
Well, I think I know 3 people that are interested. They're just waiting for their
For the,
time off. to
Okay.
Expire. So
okay.
they can, well, 2 of them for sure. Come back.
They want-
I think so. Yes,
Can you tell me, Jim?
possibly.
Surely, Jim.
James are-
That would be some institutional knowledge
Yeah,
to help you.
I would not turn that down.
Well, and I have this great little spreadsheet. So their year is up on April 30th, just saying.
That's perfect.
Okay, that's what I was trying to gauge to.
Yeah, I have a little tracking spreadsheet. They could even apply, like, they could apply in April and say, you know, I can put it on the April agenda or May that I would like to, my 1 year is up. I'd like to be here starting May 1st and
Mhm.
Then they're here May 1st.
and they're here May 1st, which is great because what the applications that go out in April, our deadline is typically the beginning of June, around June 7th. And then they would be there for
The full
the whole
cycle.
process.
Yep,
Yeah. That would be great.
that would be great.
Okay. Perfect.
The cavalry would be here.
Well, I came in when there was a long-term lineup of
Right.
people that were here.
I was the first new person in like 2 years.
Really?
When I came up. I think we're done,
We're done.
right?
Okay, yeah. If there's any good thing for good of the order,
Anything for, Freya, anything for the good of the order?
No.
Perfect.
all right, we got a plan.
Thank you.
So meeting.
We're finished, meeting adjourned.
Being adjourned.
Excellent. Yeah, Val, who owned the.
Oh, yeah.
She died. I replaced her. That's how long ago. And otherwise, that